We are following breaking news here in Metro Atlanta. This is all happening in Gwinnett County at Jimmy Carter Boulevard right now. Take a look. Live images from our first alert chopper. This bus. We don't know who's behind the wheel. We don't know what's going on that bus. But for the last 20 minutes or so, we've been watching that bus weave in and out of traffic, run through intersections, run through stop signs.
Wow.
And there are right now officers behind that bus. They cannot get it to stop. Ellen, I want to go over some information. We just got into the Atlanta News First newsroom where officers responded to 45 Ivan Allen Jr. Boulevard in reference to a dispute on a Gwinnett County transit bus. Now, this happened earlier this afternoon. Upon arrival, the bus fled from the location. Right now, officers working to stop that bus so they can investigate further. So again, we don't know exactly what's going on, but officers were called because of some kind of dispute on that bus right now. We don't know if the current driver of the bus is behind the wheel. We don't know if someone else is behind the wheel. But right there, Georgia State Patrol officers, state police really trying to get this bus stopped for everyone's safety.
And here's somebody up on the left side here, a GSP officer just sped right by the bus to pull into the front. Most of them are trailing, but every now and again they send an officer to the front of the bus. That could be, honestly, to just stop the intersections ahead of the bus and warn everyday people to say, look, this is a dangerous situation here, flying down what I believe is State Route 8. It looks like that's the connector over in Gwinnett County. We were on I-85. We switched to Jimmy Boulevard. We're coming up on the Stone Mountain Freeway, I've been told, with this bus. It's pulling into the center lane here, Tracy, avoiding traffic. It looks like, yeah, they've got the traffic up there stopped, but this bus isn't stopping.
No, and it looks like they've done an amazing job of really calling ahead and trying to get as many people out of the way. You see that officer there in the intersection really stopping traffic, trying to make way for this bus as best as they can, trying to get all those drivers out of the way. He is going the wrong way in that turn line.
That's another car connecting.
And you're talking about a heavy piece of equipment you talked about before, Alan, and you can see the damage on the front end of that bus, even on the backside there, all the things it's running into, the curbs, the vehicles, everything else. Again, we don't know the situation on this bus. Some time ago, there was some kind of altercation. The driver, whoever was in charge of how that bus is able to move, the bus drove off, and here's where we ended up, right off Jimmy Carter Boulevard, up I-85, heading to Stone Mountain Freeway as well. So that's what we're looking at right now. Live images from our first alert chopper.
And we've seen spike strips, deployed so far. We've seen officers try and do roadblocks. We've seen them try and do a pit maneuver, but this bus just too big for these methods to work. I'm not sure if it connected earlier or not, that spike strip I was talking about, but the bus is still moving, and I don't see any damage coming from those front tires. And it's still plowing. This is, again, Stone Mountain. We're in the Stone Mountain area right now, working to figure out exactly what is happening as this bus, again, barrels down the freeway here, or at least the roadway here, followed by a number of officers. GSP, it looks like Gwinnett County PD as well, chasing this bus, and we still don't know what in the world is going on board. There's no clue right now about why or whatever's happening or what started this fight or why police first responded to Ivan Allen to try and make this happen. It looks like, and I missed that roadway. We just got to look at that roadway there.
I think they're headed eastbound on Hugh Howell Road from what our First Alert breaking news desk is telling.